If you're still using return on ad spend to measure the success of your paid advertising campaigns, then you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. And in this video, I'm going to show you why. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve. I'm the founder of Harbor Marketing Agency, and my team and I help scale e-commerce brands to over 8 figures in revenue. So let's dive in. So return on ad spend used to be kind of like the guiding metric for success or failure when it came to paid advertising campaigns. You would run Facebook ads or you would run Google ads, and the metric that you would use would be return on ad spend to understand how effective your ads were. And there are a couple issues with this. The first, of course, is that return on ad spend only measures the return on initial acquisition, and so it's not taking into account the lifetime value of every single customer, which, if you really want to scale, lifetime value is really kind of the metric that you should be using to measure how much you can pay to acquire a customer and still be profitable, as opposed to just the amount of money that you're making on initial acquisition. So there is that part, but there's a larger issue that's at play here, which is why you should not use return on ad spend in a 2023 marketing landscape. And that's because post iOS 14, after Apple came out with their update in 2021, where basically they blocked tracking from a lot of iPhone users and MacBook users and Apple product users, where they couldn't be tracked by third-party pixels such as the Facebook pixel anymore, or they had to at least opt into tracking. It became a lot more difficult for platforms like Facebook and Google and any other social platform or paid advertising platform to track attributable revenue from paid ads campaigns. So if someone's on an iPhone, they click on a Facebook ad, then they go to your Shopify store and they purchase something, pre-iOS update, all that data, their purchase information, how much they spent, what they ordered, could easily be passed back to Facebook, and it was easier for Facebook to track exactly how much of a return was made based on the ad that person was served. So if you spent, $10 to acquire that customer and they spent $100 at your store, then it was very easy for Facebook to track a 10x return on ad spend. Once the iOS update came out and all of that tracking got a little bit muddied, it became a lot more difficult. So that same person could click on your ad, go to your store and spend $100, but that information wasn't necessarily passed back to Facebook. And so what Facebook does now is they try to use modeled data. So they can get some data from your Shopify store using the Pixel and Conversions API, but it's not perfect. And so they'll kind of estimate in your ad account how much of a return you're getting. And they have a really tough time pulling in revenue. They can pull in how many orders were generated pretty easily. It's a little bit more accurate, but they have a really tough time passing revenue numbers through. So the return on ad spend number that you see in your Facebook ad account is usually pretty far from the truth. And so this leads to a lot of discrepancy and can lead you to make bad decisions if you're using the return on ad spend number that you're seeing in your ad account to make optimizations in your marketing. So a better metric to use nowadays is blended return on ad spend, also known as MER or media efficiency ratio. Blended return on ad spend is similar, but takes a more holistic view of your business and can also guarantee accuracy, at least when you're looking at the blended metric here. So basically what blended return on ad spend is total revenue that you generated during a certain time period divided by total marketing spend. So rather than looking at single channel return on ad spend, like how much did I make in revenue that is directly attributed to Facebook or directly attributed to Google, what blended return on ad spend tells you is, okay, how much revenue did I make and how much did I spend in total on marketing for my business during that time? So let's say you spent $20,000 on Facebook, $10,000 on Google, then your blended return on ad spend is going to tell you, okay, I spent $30,000 in marketing and I made $300,000 in revenue, so I have a 10x blended return on ad spend. And what that does for you, the insight that it gives you, is it tells you how your overall marketing is performing, which I think is more valuable information than single channel return on ad spend because it takes into account the entire customer journey. The reality is, even pre-iOS update, there were multiple touch points that people were taking before they made a purchase. So nobody was, or maybe some people, but the vast majority of people We're not just clicking on a Facebook ad, going to your website and making a purchase after seeing the product for the first time. Those people were more than likely clicking on a Facebook ad, going to your website, then leaving your website, then maybe getting retargeted by another Facebook ad, going back to your website, joining your email list, clicking on an email, going back to your website, not purchasing again, and then maybe 3 days later they would Google a keyword relating to your industry, and then a Google ad would pop up because you've bought that keyword, and then they would click on that Google ad, go to your website and make a purchase. So there were multiple multiple touch points there, and all of your marketing channels are working together in order to get the sale. And so to look at how much return on ad spend is being attributed to a specific channel is very narrow-minded, and blended return on ad spend, or media efficiency ratio, gives you a much more holistic perspective and a better understanding of how your overall marketing is performing. So I think this is a much better way to approach it, and this is kind of the metric that a lot of agencies and media buyers use nowadays to measure success. It's what we use to measure success for our clients. We look at blended return on ad spend because, the reality is we have control over Facebook, email, and Google for the majority of our clients, and that's going to make up the vast majority of their marketing spend anyway. If we're controlling Facebook and Google, that's probably going to account for 90 to 95% of their marketing spend, and then maybe they do some influencer stuff on the side or like affiliate stuff, but still the majority of their traffic is going to come from Facebook and Google. So measuring blended return on ad spend makes sense as a success metric, because if that takes up the majority of their ad spend, the majority of their traffic and sales come from those anyway, then blended return on ad spend is going to be significantly impacted by the amount that we're spending on those channels. So hope that makes sense. Leave any questions that you have in the comments below and follow for more marketing content.